Today, we're thrilled to spotlight Pedro Nascimento, a Y Combinator-backed founder and a former standout engineer at Google and Twitter. At the helm of Findly.ai, which functions like ChatGPT for Google Analytics, Pedro is dedicated to making AI accessible to all. So today we'll be delving into his unique journey and the vast potential of AI for both tech-savvy and emerging entrepreneurs. So Pedro, drawing from your journey with Findly.ai, what are the essential AI skills that you believe that every non-tech founder should acquire to excel in a startup world?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thanks. First, thanks for having me. Yeah, I think that's a great question. No, I feel the world is changing so much nowadays that I wouldn't say focus on specific skills is the thing. Like, I'm not saying like we shouldn't learn things. That quite the opposite. I feel like I think it's much more about the mindset and be always willing to learn new things, always learn new tools, new skills in general. I think that's the way to go here because the world is in a path of acceleration more and more than it is now. It's going to be even faster. The world is going to become way faster in 5 years and 10 years. So I think being able to adapt and learn new skills is the most important thing. But said that, I would say if I had to pick one, I would say before I would say, oh, coding as what that's like technical, but with language models, the big opportunity here is to do what you could with like nowadays would need coding, but we would like just do prompt engineering. So it's like going to ChatGPT, write some prompts, and it comes up with solutions for you, like not only coding related ones, but no coding related ones one, so I feel, yes, being able to prompt models and ask those language models, those AI models, what you want in a precise way, I feel that's a skill that's going to be here for a long time.
Definitely. I completely agree with everything you said about how we should always be learning new skills because the world is moving so rapidly. Like, I can't even imagine what's going to happen in the next 10 years. Are we going to be
Yeah.
walking around with robots? Do you think that could
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. But I feel like I can see the companies and everyone's tackling first. I saw like even a video from Sam Altman saying that they started tackling robots and they saw how hard it was and the missing component, the main component that to make it happen first was like a very strong AI. So I think we are in the first steps towards that, like a very strong AI. Yeah, we do already have robots like for simple tasks in factories, right? Already like widespread. But yeah, maybe in 10 years, who knows? They will be like more present in our daily lives. No?
Definitely, definitely. And what you also said about prompt engineering, I think it's a huge skill because being able to talk to these AI models. And recently I found out that if you say please and thank you, they do a better job. Like if they like you more because you're like more human to them. So I'm always like,
Ye-
please, thank you so much.
Yes, yes, yeah, exactly. So many times I think, oh, the model's not that smart. I asked something, the model didn't answer what I wanted, but it's not magic either. No, like there's sometimes when you ask a question, the whole information is not there. Like there's some like communication between humans is like full of biases. Like you understand someone else without saying all the words because I don't know, maybe this person, someone for 10 years and you have the same background. The AI model is agnostic. They don't know that theory. But yeah, so being able to express and understand a bit how those models work and ask them precisely what you want. I think that's, to be honest, a very important skill. No?
Definitely. So in your experience with Findly.ai, how can AI be made more approachable and practical for non-tech entrepreneurs, especially those just starting out?
Yes, I think that's finally we help marketing analysts, media buyers to derive insights from their data. They need to code. You don't need to write API calls or Python or SQL to get insights from your data. And as I said, that I feel like, again, that's what those language models will be very good at beyond understand simple human language in general, but also at coding. And this is going to be abstracted from the humans a lot. So you ask, oh, can you do like we finally you can ask only not only very simple questions like about your data. Oh, what was my revenue last month? Was my revenue last month against previous month? But also, oh, do you see any anomalies on any unusual weird patterns in my data last month? So that this, even though, yeah, one is like one type of question, super simple, just get the data for your database and answer it. The other one will require like a data analyst to a data scientist to go there and do some coding. And the AI does that for you now. I think having a strong UI UX in general that it's simple, it abstracts all the most technical parts from the user, and but at the same time it shows the whole information easy way. I think I'm saying obvious things, but yeah, like nail those things down in a way that it's very clear and natural to the non-tech users. I think that's the challenge. But yes, I think
Yeah,
that's what a lot of the companies, especially in this AI rush, like are aiming to get to.
yeah, definitely to make things as easy as possible for any non-techie to be able to access this. Could you walk us
Yeah.
through the user experience of someone who's just entered Findly.ai and what happens once they sign up and like how do they interact with your software?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. So it's the setup super simple at the moment to support Google Analytics. In the future, we are going to support more integration, Facebook ads. It's coming soon, like another ones. But yeah, so you join finally, and then like like you sign up in 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then you have this chat interface that you just can ask any questions. We do have some suggested questions. We have a lot of pre-made, we call templates that are full AI generated reports already pre-made for you. So you can click and then like you already get the full conversation full of like insights, follow-up questions. But yes, so you basically have a chat interface. The you ask a question and then the AI automatically gets the data that was asked, that corresponded to your question, show you what the table results, the graphs, the best graph for that kind of question could be a word map, could be a line graph, could be a bar charts or pie charts. So it depends on the type of question you ask. So it's, yes, very intuitive. Yes, and it abstracts. You don't need to be technical to do anything there. No, like you just go ask and you get the insights. The difference here, like traditionally, or you'd learn a bit SQL, right? Or how to do API calls and write some code, even if it's simple, but, or ask someone in your team that's technical. Hey, but in our experience, I mean, my experience previously at Google was that everyone has 100 tasks at the same time. You go to your data analyst, ask a question, and it's going to take at least a few hours for them to prioritize that, and you get the insight back. So I think yes, this time to insight we call it's reduced to fine.
Definitely. So would that mean that you would not need data analysts anymore because of
No,
Findly.ai? Because if I can just get it, then why would I ask my data analyst?
no, not really. I think that's there are two. I feel like first the data analysts, for example, they have their own OKRs, data scientists, data analysts, they have their own OKRs. They need to create a machine learning model for something. They need to do analysis for a specific project or, and, but the, the companies change and you always have requests and things that were not expected at the beginning of when you're planning the OKRs, when you're doing the planning for your teams. It's much more about freeing their time to do the things they really care about and they is more important, or even for them to do. It's always the classic thing. If you can do things 10 times faster, it's not that you don't need the person A or B anymore, but you can do much bigger things. And I think you don't try to reduce what you're doing, but you try to do even more. There is always there is infinite amount of work to be done and things to be improved. Yeah, it's more about I would say we help to free their time so they can focus on things they really care about.
That makes a lot of sense because I think
Yeah.
it's the same with coding. Now you don't even need to code like most of the time, and you're able to free up and do something more valuable with your time, like problem solving and like thinking about better, like what you should do.
Yes, yes, or yes, or exactly. Yeah, you code it like just 10 times faster, and then like you do much more and much better. I think there's also like an output in quality. If you can do your test 3 times faster, then you can just do them way better in a shorter period of time. So you many times use this extra time to actually deliver better work.
Definitely. So at Findly.ai, you work towards making AI accessible to all. So what strategies would you suggest for non-technical founders to fully harness AI in their ventures?
Yeah, good. So we used to have that at Google too, and we do have that at Finally. We have a bi-weekly knowledge sharing. Like basically we put everyone together, and someone technical or technical, the top can be suggested like for each meeting by everyone. I saw this, like even though technical people, I saw this, I don't understand. Let's discuss together this topic. Yes, so you have those
Yeah.
knowledge sharing sessions like that. Basically, we sit down, everyone, like the whole team, for an hour, and we discuss this topic, and it's nice, and because the discussions many times end up going in different directions because there are so many perspectives from like different backgrounds in the same meeting. So it even opens up like is a mind opener for everyone in the company. So it's good. So it helps the even technical people to learn about at least the basics about the subject they didn't know. So that's a bit how we used to do that also a lot at Google to have those like sessions and like monthly, weekly, depends on the on the priorities and in your company. But yes, I think those are really useful.
Definitely. So what was the most interesting perspective that you got from one of these sessions?
Yes, that's a good question. I think, for example, I think 1 year ago we were talking about, or even more like about, I think a lot of people talking about agents, AI agents. So this is going to be the new thing. And then, yes, I think it was good to understand exactly what from, let's say in our company specifically, how those agents can have impact, not only long term. Yes, long term, you have those agents that are super fast, but nowadays there's still limitation of the AI. Those language models are slow. So doing very complex tasks, a huge amount of complex tasks, it would take a long time, and it's a bit, and it also opens up like room for mistakes. So I think understanding and seeing different perspectives of which kind of tasks are easy enough, like for humans, for example, send an email could be like as one that it requires a specific set of skills. Oh, you need to write well the email, and oh, maybe do you need the extra information? Which types of email can an AI write it fully without the much help of a human? Like not all. So it's I think understanding going over many of those different like tasks that the AI can eventually do, and understanding the technical limitations and also the business limitations, break down and know what makes sense. All of this other type of task can be, it doesn't matter if the AI is super fast. For example, it can be done in the background, like it yes, understand those things. I think it's always very valuable, no? Even like in an open-ended way, as we do many times, no?
Definitely. I think knowing the limitations and capabilities of AI helps you like innovate better and know which tasks you're supposed to use for what. And yeah, and essentially not waste time like trying to do something with AI that it can't do yet. Or yeah,
Exactly. If you ask, like some extremely, because the interface is so open, because it's language, you think it can do everything, but it's actually knowing the limitations and working based on those limitations. I think is a bit where the value is now. The future, the capabilities are going to increase. Then you'll be able to do more things. But yes, but we need to live the present too, and how it can benefit current world the most.
Definitely. So, how did participating in Y Combinator's Summer 2022 batch influence Findly's approach to developing AI solutions that are accessible to non tech founders?
Yes, I would say it came naturally. I wouldn't say there was a specific point that influenced us. I'm pretty sure actually when we joined Y Combinator, like we had also like in the marketing space, Y Combinator host companies when they joined, they try to find problems on your idea and help you to pivot, like and understand like better adjacent areas and related areas that you can also attack. I think yes, but I think that the main thing for the main say at Y Combinator is, oh, you need to make something that people want, and that's obvious. And I feel with those models, and because language is like the universal language for like for communicating, and with the language models being able to understand language, I think it opens up a whole new set of products that can be created for non-technical people. So I think that's the a bit. So it's I would say there is a huge audience of non-technical people that were not as well super well served. I would say as well it can be. And with this now we have this machines understand language in like natural language in a way that's much more reliable, then it opens up a whole set of opportunities for this massive audience of non-technical people. So I think it's more like the orthogonal thinking that they try to give you at Y Combinator and make you like really challenge your ideas, think if what you're doing is the right thing or not.
Definitely. Yeah, I think make something people want sounds really simple, but it's actually not that simple
Yeah.
because sometimes we just assume people want something and they don't want it. So
Yes,
I
yes.
think it's,
And
yeah,
there are a lot of reasons for that, right? Yes, that you didn't expect at first. So yeah, it's always good to double check.
definitely. And yeah, and I like what you said about how like these language models, they create like new opportunities for like non-tech technical people to be able to do more with technology because I think at this current point, the lines are blurring between technical and non-technical because you're able to do a lot more if you're a non-technical person now than you could a few years ago. If I was to like tell some non-technical person, hey, yeah, write some Python scripts, and they're like, I can't do it. But then they're like, hey, look, I wrote the whole thing with ChatGPT. So
Yes,
it's a lot has
yeah,
changed.
yes. I think yes, there is a there's a whole, and I think that the tools are still evolved. There are a lot of startups like us coming with really nice tools that so we can definitely then the next 5 years we have a totally new set of products that doing things that are quite different from now.
Definitely. So, from your experience at Findly.ai, how do you see AI influencing the culture in startups, especially for teams with limited technical experience?
It's a bit what you just said. Even for us, it finally for even for me as a technical person, like other people, we you write AI, but you use also AI to write AI. So it's use ChatGPT, use like GitHub Copilot. I feel like companies that are not using, strong believe that companies that are not using those tools nowadays, they will be a bit behind like this. So it's important to use them. But yes, I think the culture here is we are using AI at this point to help us to be more productive. We use a lot of tools. The main ones, ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, and to write code faster, and you're building an AI tool. And there's a loop here. And then like now, oh, now you have more AI tools and use them more, then makes us more productive. And with that, we create even better AI tools. So there's a reinforced loop here. That's why I think things will go really fast in the next, at least in the next few years.
Definitely. So, Do you have a limit in terms of tools that you would use for your company? For example, like you're using ChatGPT, Copilot, but then you find more tools that are really good for productivity. But where do you stop? Do you stop at 20, 30, or should you stop at 10 because there's just too many?
With the Yeah, that's for sure. I think there is like mental limit on how many tools, how to use pretty well. So yes, I would say we try to maintain the set of tools we use. I wouldn't say limited, but constrained. So it also at some point, most of our work is learning how to use tools rather than actually doing the work. So yes, we use basically three, four, five tools that are the main ones, and we try to keep it simple.
Definitely. I think 3 to 5 is a good number. I think
Yeah.
more than that, it's just you're just overcomplicating things.
Yes, exactly. Enough. Yeah.
So, one straightforward AI application that non technical founders could implement in their business today and see noticeable improvements.
That's for sure. I think any of the AI assistants that ChatGPT, Bard, I think that's for sure. It's really important. But yes, just I think the main concern only is like with privacy, right? You putting your data there, and like eventually the model will be trained on that. But I think all the main companies, they already have at this point settings that, oh, don't train with my data.
Yeah.
I think that's the main concern. But I would say, yeah, having those tools, ChatGPT, Bard, inside of your company is the tools are generic enough that 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 would bring you like a lot of value. I would say finally too, if you're into marketing data, you have market analytics. I think working with structured data is still very hard nowadays. And yes, like tools like finally that helps you to like get this data very quickly. It's also anything that improves your reduce something, a task that you take an hour and now you can do in a minute. I feel you should use it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, yeah, these days I just automate whatever it is that is not like my core work that requires like my humanness. Like the rest, I'm just like, I'm not doing this because why should I do it?
Yeah.
Literally this morning, I was just doing some market research. And I believe it was years ago. It would have taken me like a few days, like maybe a week. It took me 5 minutes. And I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, and this is crazy. Like the speed in which things could be done in the next 10 years, I feel like it's going to be like really
Yeah,
rapid.
yes. And you can basically, again, like instead of like, if you now you can do something, one thing in 5 minutes, one specific task, but later you'll be able to, oh, do this market research and then send an email, then do this and that. And you'll be able to do, let's say 10 things in the same 5 minutes. So I think that's where things will get really interesting.
Definitely. So, could you share a story where an AI application didn't work out as expected and how you navigated this challenge at Findly.ai?
Yeah, I think the first, I would say, I can say internally developing finally at the very beginning, like AI models, they hallucinate a lot. Like the language models specifically, they say things that are not true, like ground them and make sure the facts, and things they're saying are really correct. That's really important. For that, we had to go and implement a lot of other techniques beyond the language models, like retrieval models and things that ground the model with like proper knowledge. I think it also, for example, the thing we didn't, it's obvious, but as we were improving our pipeline at the very beginning, I think the first version of a product I used to take, let's say, a question, simple questions to take 3 minutes to get answered, which is still better than not many hours and days, like from asking someone else, but making and noticing how slow those language models can be, and going an extra mile to create a product that now it takes, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds to answer a question. And so it's going from that stage to now. I think that's, yeah, everyone who sees, oh, you have those new tools like that, it's magical. But if you go an extra step and try to use that for many things, then you need to be careful and use it properly, no?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think 3 minutes to 30 seconds, it doesn't feel like much of a difference, but it really does, honestly.
Yes, yes. No, yes, now it's even less than 30 seconds. So, yeah, it depends on the question, but can be from 10 seconds to, yeah, up to 25 or something. So, yeah, it's like for the user that's there in the dashboard, it makes a, a good difference, you know?
Definitely. So, how does Findly.ai tackle ethical challenges, especially in data analysis and customer interaction? And what advice would you give to startups in this area?
Yes, another good one. I think first it's important to understand where the problem comes from. The problem comes from the because nowadays people it's because the data in the world has problems, and those models are trained basically as a dump of you get all the data and throw the data there, and the model just. So I think there are a lot of people doing research, even OpenAI, Google, on how to make those models, make them become less biased in general. I think that's, but it is on the model side. But I think at the end of the day, yes, it's important for us to check, yeah, to check the data we are using. I can make sure that we clean up and train the models with the proper data so it doesn't create. And I think it's a big problem because the language models in general, there are those things, if they're trained and they're biased, they have problems and they are now on the internet and they're just repeating things in a bad way.
Yeah.
It amplifies, there is an amplifier of bad things, if possibly. So it's really important. I think there are companies how for the models we train internally, and finally we curate our data and check our data to make sure it doesn't have any problems. But we also, like for the models we use externally, we make sure you're using, for example, Google, OpenAI, we are using with the right moderation. They have like on their APIs and all like the content moderation levels. We use this information also to in our system, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
I
there's
can,
definitely a lot of work to be done here and to improve even more.
yeah, honestly, it just reminds me of like garbage in, garbage out, right? If you put in bad,
Yeah.
like low quality data, it's just gonna spill out low quality data all the time. And that's just really concerning because all the misinformation that could happen. And people just believe a lot of things, right? We have too much faith in technology, right? We just like, oh, it came from a computer, it's right.
Yeah. So yes, it's definitely something I really love. I used to work for Twitter, that's now X. I really love the thing they create called community notes that you basically can for post that could be a bit controversial, that they use the power of the community to rate and if that post is like bad or good. I feel like it's a very smart way to tackle those challenges, like having humans to rate if like certain fact is true or not. And then eventually this will be used to train some models, but having the ground truth data really well curated, I think that's great. No?
Yeah, definitely. I think a rating system is very important because, well, it improves the quality of the data that comes out as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I was just using it. I just saw that like for like AI generated images and they also have like rating systems and you can and honestly I just started rating because I just can't stand like the images that are just so weird. I feel
Yeah.
like AI still cannot really understand like words. They just misspell a lot of
Yeah. Yes. There is a lot of like problems still. I think, yeah, it's slowly. I feel like most of those, I would say those basic problems will probably be solved in the next 2 years. I'd say, yeah, there's like misspelling those like things. I think that those they will be fixed very soon. We are getting there, way better than it was 10 years ago. I'd say 5 years ago even. But yes, we are not that far from solved.
definitely. I'm like excited about that.
Yeah.
So to conclude, what piece of advice would you offer to non-technical founders eager to integrate AI into their business strategy?
Yes, I would say I understand like for large corporations, especially, it might be hard. They're a bit slow. So it might be hard to implement new AI tools inside their business. But I would say any business, especially startups, new business, they should try to use the most they can. This there are a bunch of studies showing how consultants using ChatGPT or other similar tools, or they they are being able to increase the speed of their work, their productivity in 30 to 40%, the quality of the work improved in 50%. So there's a lot of benefits. And we are like, I would say, let's say, on year one of those new tools. So you can expect those benefits to compound. Yes, I feel it's bad if you're working with a business that, I don't know, is 30% less efficient than your competitor for just because you're not using the right tools. I feel it's a a very easy to that you could tackle, you know, and yeah, it's a low hanging fruit, I would say. So yeah, I would
Definitely.
say, yeah, try to use the tools and things as soon as possible. New tools, experiment, see what is the best for your business. Yeah, and you can expect them like to become much better in the coming years.
I think that's very good advice to close up with. Like, use tools to improve your efficiency because if your competitor is using it and you're not using it, you're going to miss out. So, yeah,
Yeah,
just get to it. And thank you so much, Pedro, for coming today and for sharing your insights with all of us.
yeah. Thank you very much again for inviting me. Yeah.